Hello, welcome to today's class. Today we're going to be discussing about pricing. But first we need to understand what pricing is. Price is a value that is attached to a product or service. Pricing your product is very important, and you need to price your product right. Your price shouldn't be too high and your price shouldn't be too low. Too high price might scare people away from your business or from your services, and too low price might crash your business. Don't just fix prices like others are doing. When you fix a price, you need to have confidence and be able to convince your customers to let them know why your product or service has that value and why they should pay that amount. So fixing prices is just one thing, but you also need to review your prices from time to time. Don't just fix your prices and just let it be like that. No, you need to review your prices from time to time, because in cases like where you introduce a new product or service, let's say for example, let me use a baking business or a donut business for example. Let's say you use I'll be using a baking business. Let's say because it covers even donuts. So let's say you use regular buttercream to cover your cakes, and then suddenly you use that's the regular American buttercream, and then you decide to switch. I don't like working with this regular buttercream and it's not as sweet or quality as the other buttercream. So maybe you switch to using let's say the Swiss meringue buttercream, or you switch to using the crusting American buttercream because it's easier for you to work with. Well, at this stage you need to review your price, because it's not the same amount anymore. The ingredients you use have changed and everything has changed. So at this stage you need to review your price. So in cases also where your costs change, maybe things become expensive in the market, or when things are scarce it becomes expensive, so you have to review your price. Maybe you were buying 50 kg of flour for, just an example, let's say for 11,000, and then you go back to the market, it's now 12 or 13,000. You have to review your price, because it's not going to be the same thing, or else you'll be at loss. So you also have to review your competitors' prices. Yes, it's okay to look into what your competitors do. It's not like you're going to be a copycat, but you need to review how their prices, see how they work. Because if your own is too expensive and it's theirs is cheaper, you understand, you need to see why theirs is cheaper or what you need to adjust. So then you review your prices. So economic changes also affect your prices. Maybe when there's a recession in the country, or things just become expensive, just economic changes too can affect your prices. So no matter how you price your product, just ensure you make sales and you are making profit. It's not just to keep the price there and do nothing about it. So there are certain factors that affect your pricing, and one, we have location. Every location has different prices. If you're in Abuja and another baker is at Lagos, the prices are going to be different, because the cost at which somebody at Lagos will purchase her ingredients or machines will be different from the cost you purchase yours in Abuja. So you need to ask yourself, what kind of people live around you? What kind of price can they afford? Is it do you live in an area where people don't really spend money like that? Just maybe they are managing and they don't need too expensive things. What kind of things do they like? Do they like are there people that patronize maybe plain donuts, or maybe filled donuts, or people that patronize buttercream cakes compared to let's say whipped cream cakes? So just what kind of products do they have interest in? You need to know that. So are they willing to pay or buy from you? Are they willing to pay the amount you have fixed, and are they willing to buy from you? And two, you need to know your customer. That's another factors that affects your pricing. You need to know who your customer is. You need to know your ideal customer. Your ideal customer is someone who needs your product and has the purchasing power to get it. To know your ideal customer, you need to have a buyer persona or a customer avatar. So, a buyer persona is a semi-fictional representation of your ideal customer based on your market research and real data about your existing customer. Why it is important for you to develop a buyer persona is because it helps you to centralize your customers. You understand? You get to know who your target market is, who you are dealing with. You understand? It helps you to generate high quality leads. So elements of a buyer persona, we have the demographics, we have the age, sex, location, marital status, occupation, income, educational level. You have interest and behaviors, or you have interest and behaviors. You also have personality traits, their lifestyle, hobbies and interests, their social media activities, challenges, goals, motivators, so many. So you need to know your customer. It helps you understand what they need. So how do you get this information? You can ask your customers politely for information, ask them for feedback. You could, if it's online, you could ask them to fill a survey or a form. You can offer them maybe a discount if they do that, or maybe a free product. You could ask them politely if they visit your store to please put down their information. Just get to know your customer, ask them for feedback and review your feedbacks. So you also need to know what problem is your product solving and who needs this product. So when you carry out these surveys, you get to know what problem is out there that you need to solve and who are those that need your product, so that you can target these people. Which area are your competitors not touching, so that you can take advantage of that area. Maybe let me say you make donuts and you fill and glaze, and then your competitors are using the regular jam, Nutella all the time, and then you decide to add something different, spice up with different fillings. Your packaging is different, so beautiful. Sometimes packaging attracts. Before you think of what is inside, just looking at the packaging, it's enticing. So you need to look at what are they not doing, so that you can use it to attract customers. And so another thing that affects your pricing is value. Like I've already said before, what makes you unique? What is your unique selling point? What makes you different from your competitors? What is that thing that makes you stand out? Are you delivering quality? Do you disappoint? When you say, okay, we'll deliver within the next 24 hours and your customers keep waiting, or you show them a very beautiful picture of a cake or a glazed donut, and then when you deliver, you're delivering something different and they feel disappointed. You need to think, are you offering value? Why will your customers keep patronizing you, that no matter what, they wouldn't want to go somewhere else? So another thing that affects your pricing is your competitors. Every business now, every day, there are new competitors emerging, and they are ready to sell ridiculously at low prices. Some don't even mind whether they gain or they profit, but that doesn't mean you should price your products anyhow. Like I said, just be unique, be able to convince your customers why you are better, and be nice to customers, because customers believe in word of mouth, where one customer will be like, wow, I've tried her product and it's so nice. And you see, even if that person does not want to purchase from you, she feels like, wow, since this is tested and trusted, why go somewhere else? So you need to check on your competitors. It's allowed, but you do it wisely. Find out what they are not doing, and you can focus on that, and also focus on other things. You need to find their strengths and weaknesses. You can visit their stores or purchase their products online. It's allowed. You just to observe how they operate. You can even ask questions. Just try to find a way, not over crossing your boundary, just to carry out research. If you can't do it yourself, you could send a relative, you could send your colleagues or people that work with you. So another factor is the brand awareness. How well do people know your brand? Have you gained their love and trust? Brand awareness is very important in business. Just because you are there doesn't mean that anybody would know what you are doing. you need to create awareness. And when you create the awareness, you need to get people to love you and trust you, that they will recommend you for anyone. And you will not even have to stress yourself too much to convince and sell to customers. You need to gain trust and deliver. You need to let people know about your brand, and you need to have a very good brand name, brand loyalty, everything, just to gain their trust. It's very important to gain trust and love, because if people don't trust you, they wouldn't want to purchase from you. So you can even give out free trials. Maybe if you are into donuts or cakes, you could just give out some free trials, like, okay, come and have cake testing or donut testing. Let them trust you, let them know that, wow, this is amazing, this is tasty, and now know that I will not be wasting my money when I purchase from this person. Understand? So it's very important to create brand awareness and gain the love and trust of people. So there are things you need to consider when you're fixing your price. So we have direct costs, indirect costs, and we have the depreciation on your equipment. We also have the labor cost, sundry cost, and your profits. So we're going to be discussing them one by one. So the direct cost is the cost of all the ingredients and materials you use. E.g., if you're a baker, or let's say you're a baker, so the cost of your ingredients, even if, let's say, you make donuts, the cost of your ingredients like flour, the sugar, the butter, the yeast, the milk, just those ingredients. So you need to cost them, and you need to add them to your pricing. You're not going to say, okay, because I got this ingredients for free, I won't cost. You will need that money later. So that is why you need to price your products properly. Don't try to feel like, okay, because you have another source of income and you don't notice that your business, you are not making any profit. You need to be able to draw the line between your business money and your own money that you get from other sources. So as I was saying, the direct cost is the cost of all the ingredients and material you use. So for instance, let's say you buy a bag of flour that weighs about 50 kg and you bought it at the sum of 11,000 naira. So you see, each 1 kg of your flour you use is 220 naira, because when you divide 50 kg, when you divide 11,000 by 50 kg, you get 220 naira. That means each kg is 220 naira. You can even break it further. If maybe you are not using up to 1 kg, you can break it further into grams, since so you can say 100 grams will be 220 divided by 10. So you can break it into 100 grams. So that means each 100 grams of that flour you use will be about 22 naira. So you just break it down according to the quantity of products, the quantity of ingredients you use. Another example is, okay, you bought a crate of egg for 1,000, and so you divide it. We have about 30 eggs in a crate. So if you calculate it, is 1,000 divided by 30, each is about, let's say, 35 naira. So you just break down your product, and as you're doing this, you have to have a table or a reference book where you're jotting it down, so that you don't keep repeating for the same thing, and at the end of the month when you want to calculate, or at the end of the year, you know what you are dealing with. So you list your ingredients and break them down into unit prices, and always use it as a reference to price your products. So, and then we have the indirect costs. These are costs that affect your business indirectly. They must be attended to regardless of sales. Whether you sell or you don't sell, you have to take care of these bills, or else you might have issues running your business. So we are talking of things like your rent. If you're using a shop, you have your electricity bill, the gas you use, because without gas you can't work. You need to pay electricity, you need to pay your rent. So even if you are working from home, you can just set a figure as your rent at home, because definitely one day you have to move out of your house and maybe get a shop. So where will you get the money for rent if you've not been adding your money for rent to your business? So you don't say because you are working from home or you are using the gas in the house, you don't need. No, one day you might want to stand on your own and get a shop and get the gas. Where will you get the money from when you've not been making profits from what you are doing? So you can break down your costs. So if your rent is about 200,000 naira in a year, then each month you pay about, that means you are paying about 16,000, because you say 200,000 divided by, we have 12 months in a year, so that's around, I think, 16,000. And in a day you have around about 727 naira per day. Why? Because if let's say you don't work Saturdays and Sundays, so you, let's say 4 Sundays and 4 Saturdays in a month, so that's like 8 days already out. And because not all the months have up to 31 days, just assume, okay, let's just use 30 days. So altogether we are having like, okay, 22 days. So when you divide out 22 days with when you divide your 16,000 with that to 22 days, you have around 727 naira per day. So you have to have a table for this too, so that you know how you spread this 727 naira across your products. So if you are not getting orders every day, you can know how you spread it around your products. So, and then we have the depreciation on equipment. So your business needs to pay for the equipment you use. You can't say because that equipment is already there and I don't need to add it to my pricing. No, you definitely will get on that one later, or it might develop a fault and you might just need to change it later, because definitely it might start getting weaker with time. So sometimes you might need to service it. So there are different methods you can calculate, but you can just use this formula, which is, we have the annual depreciation equals to the total cost of your equipment all over the expected number of years to use it. That's the number of years you think you're going to use it. So your total cost of equipment is actually the actual price minus the salvage value. So the salvage value is like, okay, when I want to, after the 5 years, when I want to sell this product, this is the amount I want to sell it. So let's say for instance you buy an equipment like a mixer for 120,000 naira and you intend to use it for about 3 years, and when you want to sell it for 30,000 naira, because maybe by then it's cheaper and your own is not even new. So your total cost will now be that 120,000 naira you bought it minus the 30,000 you want to sell it, because that one will be coming back to you, that 30,000, so which is 90,000. So for a year your annual depreciation will now be that 90,000 divided by that 3 years you want to use it, which is 30,000. So when you say 30,000 in a year, you divide it by 12, you have 25,000 per month. And when you divide it by the days we have used, I think 22 days, that should be around 150 naira per day. So if you are not, like I said, it depends on the orders you get in a day. So if you should know how you spread this across your orders, across your cakes, or if you're making donuts. And it must not be the same on all your products, because some of your products are more expensive so they probably might be using that machine more. So when you make fondant cakes, for instance, they are more expensive than just maybe if you're making a 6-inch buttercream cake. So it's not going to be the same. So the more effort you put into the work, the more the price will be high. So it's not going to be the same, because the stress you go through making fondant, it's different from that of buttercream. And you can imagine if you're using your that mixer for the fondant, it will stress the mixer the fondant will stress the mixer compared to when you're making a buttercream cake. So, and then we have the labor cost. So labor cost is the money you pay yourself, like for the labor, because you are also working, you're a worker. Just because it's your business doesn't mean you don't need to pay yourself. You need to pay yourself, And consider your workers' salary too, because if you have people working under you, you need to consider that you are paying them too. So you need to add that to the price you are giving your product. So you need to calculate how much you pay your workers in a month and decide how much you want to pay yourself in a day. It depends on how much orders you get. You can say, okay, in a day I want to pay myself at least 1,000 naira. So you add that for a month, then you add that of your workers, you divide it and spread it out across your different products and services. So we also have the sun-dry costs. These are extra things that you use that are not in the ingredients. You're not adding them to the indirect cost or the labor cost. These are things like, okay, let's say your boards, if you're making cakes, or your boxes you package your donuts in, or your cakes, all those ribbons you use in decorating your box, your cake box or donut box, your toppers for your cakes. Maybe your delivery cost, if you do delivery, the flyers you sometimes share to people to create awareness. You have business cards, your stickers, a lot of them. From this example, I am sure you should get what I'm saying. So they are just different from the normal ingredients you use. So you need to know how, and you understand they are different. If you're packaging a 10-inch cake, it's different. The size of cake box you use is different from when you're packaging an 8-inch cake. If you're packaging a box of donuts, let's say by 12, it's different from when you're packaging by 6. It's a smaller box. Everything is different. So you need to know how you spread this across your products and services, and then add it to your pricing. So, and then we have the profits. So don't forget that all these things you are adding, you are going, all these labor costs, sundry costs, you are buying these products again. So you have to add profit that will be there for you to invest in your business. Because if you don't add profit and you feel you have priced your product, okay, when you price your product and you get the money after paying your workers, buying another bag of flour, buying another bag of sugar, where are you going to see money to invest in your business? Because you need to improve in your business. You're not going to be where you are. You might see something you need to buy that will help improve your services. So you need to add profit to your money so that you can reinvest back to your business. So for instance, if you have your total cost is like, okay, when you add up the direct cost, the indirect cost, the labor, and the sun-dry cost. So let's say, for instance, you're making a box of 6 donuts. So you have calculated everything, the indirect cost, the labor cost, and the sun-dry cost, everything, and you have, okay, let's say 700 naira. Then you can multiply this, or you can have, okay, whenever I make donuts, you can multiply this, let's say, okay, by 1.5, by 2. Just depends on how much you want to add. Okay, let me say I say 600 times 2. I can multiply by 2, and that will be 1/2. So I can say so that will be my total cost. I can then add the profits. So let's say, for instance, you have a box of 6 donuts, and after calculating everything, you have like 600 naira, or let's say you have like 700 after calculating your indirect cost, labor cost, direct cost, sun-dry cost. So I can decide to say, okay, this is my markup profit, that every time I sell a box of 6 donuts, I'm going to add it as the profit. So let me say I say I want to add 500 naira to this. That should be around 1,001. It does depends on how much orders you get in a day. Yes, it just depends on how much orders you get in a day and how much your customers are willing to pay. You can even decide to multiply the total cost by maybe 1.5, by 2 or 3 to get your profits. So your profit just depends on how much orders you get and how much your customers are willing to pay. So the most important is for you to know how to convince them and ensure you are delivering quality. So with all this, you should be able to create a table and jot down and break down your ingredients into unit prices, spread out your labor costs, sun-dry costs, your indirect costs, just in the way you can understand how to price your products. So with all this, here are some tips you can consider when you are trying to price your product. So you shouldn't be afraid of pricing your product. Just have the right words to convince your customer and ensure you're delivering quality. You should also have flexible prices that can fit into your customer demands. So let's say you bake an 8-inch cake for, let's say, 8,000. Let's say buttercream 8-inch cakes 8,000 or so, and then you have a customer that says, it's too expensive, I want the one of 6,000 or 5,000. If you feel you must not use the same quality or the same size of this. Let's say, for instance, if the 8,000 naira 8-inch cake is like 3 layers, you can make a 2-layer for her at that 6,000 or 5,000 she's willing to pay. You can just, if there's a way, you should be able to have sometimes products that can fit into those that are not willing to, but don't go too low. Just ensure it's not affecting you, it's not going to affect your business. And like I've already said, always review your prices. Things change, so don't just fix a price and just sit on it and keep using it for a long time. Review your prices and monthly check if you're making profit to see if your pricing is right. So because when your pricing is not right, you might not take notes early until you start noticing your business is crashing, you are not able to afford so many things, and you are not improving. So you have to have a unique selling point and be open for innovation. Improve your skills, learn new things so that you stand out. Every day new things keep coming up, so you need to learn new skills. So you also need to be asking your customers for feedback and review them. Don't be afraid. Good feedback, bad feedback, it's important to ask them for feedback and review those feedback, so that if there are things they don't like, you can adjust it. If there are things they like, you can focus on that and see how you can improve it better. So, and like I said, accountability is very important. Keep track of your performance. You need to have a reference book where you can be putting down your prices and all your expenses. Maybe if you're buying things, you need to have a reference book. There are mobile apps which you can use to note down what you're doing, even if you are busy and you're not able to jot down what you want to do. There are apps you can use on your phone and check on them later. You need to keep records of the cake and donuts. If you make cake or donuts you make, you need to be putting them down, and your expenses, things, money you spend. Maybe today somebody you fixed an equipment or something, you need to put that down. Keep record, and don't just sell and that's all. You need to know, so that with time you can even, this is the amount of cake or donut I get orders for in a month or in a year or in a day. Keep tracks, dates. Always work with dates. If possible, you can work with time. So keep records of your business. So I think with this I will be ending this class, and I hope this was helpful. So take your time and review your prices and work with the ideas I've given you.